my glam girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea, where we talk about all things glam and all things girly. I'm a beauty consultant, and today I am bringing you a review on the new Too Faced. This is called the Born This Way Healthy Glow SPF 30 Moisturizing Skin Tint. So, full day wear test is coming to you, at least 8 hours of wear. I'll show you what it looks like in my studio lighting, natural lighting, flash photography, of course telling you my thoughts, who I think it'll work best for. So stay tuned for all of that. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I truly do appreciate it. And if you are new, I'd love for you to click that subscribe button and join the Glam Girl Squad because we love to have you. And let's get right into this video. So we have the new Too Faced Born This Way Healthy Glow SPF 30 Moisturizing Skin Tint. It does retail for $42. It comes in 18 shades, and we get 2.03 ounces or 60 milliliters of product. The shade that I do have is Warm Sand, and this is going to be for tan with golden undertone complexions. So this is an oil-free, nourishing serum foundation with up to 24 hours worth of wear and hydration, and an SPF 30 protection for healthy, glowing skin. The coverage is medium, the finish is natural. It has coconut water in it that's going to aid in delicately replenishing the skin's moisture level. Alpine rose, which will support the skin's health and radiance. And then hyaluronic acid, giving it a smoother, plumper look to the skin. This is going to be a Color True formula that will conceal imperfections with buildable coverage, that has a weightless feel on the skin and leaves the skin with a soft, focused, ethereal glow. The product is supposed to be non-caking, non-settling, non-comedogenic, and suitable for all skin types. And it says make sure that you shake well before use. You can apply this with your hands, a sponge, or a brush. And if you go on Sephora's website, which is where I was reading from, it actually tells you what you should do. So their recommendation for applying the product after you have shaken the container very well is to apply a small amount onto your fingers, warm the product up between your fingers, and then go in with your tool of choice. So as you see from my demonstration, I warmed the product up, and then I initially applied the first layer with my fingers. And I do think it applied quite well with my fingers. I'm not a finger applicator person, okay? I'm gonna tell y'all that right away. So for me, after I looked at my skin with applying it with my fingers, I still felt the need to go in and press the product in further. So I would suggest you can apply it with your fingers and be out the door, or I would just say if you like to use your fingers, maybe just take a sponge, a brush afterwards, and just make sure that everything's blended in, you don't have any streak marks, and that you're good to go. I used a foundation brush, so I went in with the Sonia G, the Jumbo Base brush. This is the travel size of it, and I pressed it into the skin to apply the second layer. The formula is definitely buildable, because when you saw from the first layer, you definitely still saw my freckles. I have a couple of breakouts here, and I felt like they were definitely covered and like diminished, but you could pretty much still see my skin. With this second layer, I felt like I did get a nice medium coverage, and I was like, okay, a skin tint that's buildable. They don't do that a lot of times. So once everything was applied to the face, I was like, I really like how this is looking. The shade Warm Tan definitely has a warmer feel to it, but I don't feel it's too warm. So I tend to use complexion shades that do have a neutral undertone, because those tend to work the best for me. I don't look too orange, I don't look casket ready, but I think this actually is a nice tone for it to have a golden undertone. It's not too yellow. It's also not gonna be too warm against my complexion. And I really like this. I think this shade is also gonna work really well for me in the summertime if I do get a bit of a tan. So I actually really do like this shade. Taking this into natural lighting, it looked very beautiful on the skin, and my skin looked very healthy and radiant. You can see that there is some dew with this particular skin tint, which I'm not surprised about. Most skin tints are going to be more radiant, more glowy. So we do see that healthy looking glowy skin. We took it outside. Once again, it looks very beautiful on the skin outside. Flash photography, there really wasn't too much flashback. We did see more of, I could say, like lighter area in my T-zone, which I thought was like, okay, maybe this is the SPF, but it still looked balanced. To me, it looked like I just had on concealer, which I didn't. So I don't think that there was enough flashback for me to say, like, don't use this product under flash photography. This is beautiful. I ain't gonna hold you. This is beautiful. I've been trying to think what skin tints do I want to compare this to, because In terms of the container, I immediately think Dior Backstage Concealer Foundation. But, I mean, we could do a comparison because although that's a foundation, like, she got some coverage. Like, my pimple is definitely not as noticeable. You barely see the one on my chin. So I don't know, maybe I'll do a comparison with that. If there are any other skin tints that you want me to compare this to, leave them down in the comment section below, because you know, we got to get our baskets ready for the Sephora savings event. But I really like how it's sitting on the skin. I do think that this is one of those skin tints that is flexible, meaning that if you just want like the sheerest wash of color on the skin, you can get that with this particular product, and then you can build to a nice medium. Coming in close, I think everything just looks really nice and put together. I did go in with concealer to brighten the T-zone, and I also set my concealer with powder, but I like the sheerest amount of powder, and I really kept it like right in my T-zone. I didn't add any powder like along this area of the face and along this area of the face. So we'll definitely pay attention to these areas and like right along here to see if we have a lot more radiance and dew at the end of the day. Of course, we'll look at the center of my face as well to see. Looking at my fine lines, we don't see too much settling of the product there. And I have some over here. Settling does occur because it's a fine line, but I always try to see like, are my fine lines more accentuated with this product, or do they just look normal? And in my opinion, they just look normal. So far, I'm really like how this is sitting on the skin. I like how my skin feels. It feels very lightweight. Doesn't feel like I have anything on so far. And I like it. So I'm gonna go about my day, see how things are wearing, and then we'll check back in at least 8 hours later. I've had this foundation on now for a good 2 hours. So this is what we're looking like 2 hours in. And so I'll check back in at least 6 more hours, probably longer because I got a long day ahead of me. So we'll see how this holds up at the end of the day. We'll also check to see if the color stays true to tone, because that's what it's claiming, and all of those things. So stay tuned for all of that, and I will see y'all at the end of the day. Okay guys, we are back. It is the end of the day, and I've had, good God, I've had this skin tint on for almost 12 hours. It has been a long one. So I'm gonna come in close so we can see what things are looking like. All right guys, so I'm not even gonna hold you. This thing lasted so well. For it to be a skin tint that's buildable, most of my skin tints do not have a lot of longevity. You do eventually see them starting to wear. They also don't have a lot of coverage because they're not supposed to. They're a skin tint. But this, like, I'm really blown away at the coverage, the lasting power. Remember, we were talking about seeing if this formula was going to get more dewy and radiant. I mean, I do see some more radiance around my nose, but, and I would say overall, there is some more, just a little more radiance, but nothing that's like making me feel that the skin tint is just sliding off the face. Blush is definitely still on, and I'm impressed. Like, I am so impressed with this formulation, how long it's lasted on my skin, and it still feels nice and lightweight. Like, it doesn't feel heavy. I will admit, I do want to blot. What brush did I use earlier? Oh, here we go. So I will go ahead and just, I'm not gonna add any extra powder. I'm just gonna take what was left over on my brush that I used earlier and just go like this. Now, I will say this, and I'll come in close so you can see what I'm talking about. I did eat earlier today, and I did need to blot around my mouth, and I do feel like it is starting to break away around my mouth. I'll stop talking so you can see what I'm talking about. So like right in this area, I feel like it's not breaking away to where it looks terrible, but if I'm looking up close and analyzing it, I do feel like we are seeing some of it just wear like right along this area. But then again, like I told you, I was eating, having to blot my mouth. So I'm not gonna hold that against the product because that honestly could happen with any foundation. But I'm highly impressed. Like, this is very nice. So here's the thing. number one, I will keep you updated as to how I like it because I am going to wear it in multiple types of ways. Like, I do want to wear this in more of a skin tint form to see how I like this and to see, you know, is this a product that I want to wear in its flexible ways, or do I prefer it with the more medium coverage, or do I prefer it with the lighter coverage? In terms of shades, there's 18 shades, and with skin tints, ideally you can have less shades because the shades are flexible. And I will admit, we did not have any extra oxidation. Like the tone that we see of this foundation now, I believe is the same tone that we saw over 9 hours ago. So I do think it is one of those products that does stay true to color. I would be interested to see how this actually does work for a plethora of complexions, because when I was looking at the shades, I remember trying to find a neutral tan shade, because that's like, when I see neutral tan, I'm like, give it to me. Like, that is my go-to complexion shade and undertone. All of the tan shades were warm. There really wasn't a neutral shade in the deeper categories except for the ones that were too deep or the ones that were too light. So I am interested to see how does this really span complexions, so and how flexible it is, because I'll be honest, I don't really know. I feel like it could be flexible. Considering this is warm sand and it doesn't look too yellow, doesn't look too orange against my complexion. I'm like, okay, maybe this could work for, you know, maybe a shade above me, a shade below me. But I'm not too sure. It's, I guess what makes me second guess it is because it does have medium coverage. If it was truly just light coverage, like a more traditional skin tint, then I would be like, yes, this is very flexible and the shades that it can accommodate. But because this actually builds up to having solid coverage, that then is going to be more specific to the tone that's more appropriate to wear it. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Because the more coverage you have, you want to make sure that that tone, color, and undertone really is working for the complexion. So if I had to throw a con in there, that would be the con. Not too sure how that will work. But I would definitely say if you can go in store and try it, which I don't know if this is available in store yet. I had to order it online because it wasn't in my local Sephora or Ulta. But if it does come into store, I would definitely say go in and try to find your shade that way. But if you're interested in it, and if you're like, Chelsea, is the formulation nice? I mean, I have nothing to say about this. And I kept looking at my face today and I was like, I can't believe this is a skin tint. This reminds me, like, coverage-wise, of the Kosas skin tint, because that has really nice coverage. I also thought about the Fenty Beauty skin tint, the Eavesdrop skin tint, but that one has more of a matte finish, like demi-matte finish. This one has more of a radiant finish. You know what I really want to compare this to, and I just might do it just for my own peace of mind. I really want to compare this to the Dior Backstage foundation. And I don't know, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll just put them both on my face just while I'm playing in makeup. And then if I feel like, oh wow, there are similarities, then maybe we'll do one of those. But I don't know why. My intuition's telling me to do it. So I might just do it. But guys, literally nothing bad to say. So if you're interested in this one, pick this one up. I really, really like it. I think it could be great for really any time of the year, but I know one of you all was like, I'm looking for a really good skin tint for summer. I think this will hold up really well in the summer because it does have lasting power. Now, of course, I did not do anything with extreme heat today, so I will have to confirm that. But in terms of longevity of wear and seeing how well things have lasted, this could honestly be a skin tint that could work in more warmer climates, warmer weather, under humidity. So yeah, definitely giving this like 2 thumbs up. I really, really like this. I'm quite impressed because I wasn't sure how this was gonna go. And I really didn't have a lot of high hopes. If I'm being honest, I didn't. Not that I thought it was gonna be bad. I just was like, you know, it's a skin tint, you know? A skin tint. Wow. 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 So let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of the skin tint on my face? Are you still interested in the product? And if you do have it, please share your experiences down in the comment section below. I love to see you all talking and chatting and sharing information because it really does help all of us understand products more. So definitely converse down below. And if you've made it to this point in the video and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad because we love to have you. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my very next video. Bye, guys.